This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
And this will have implications, not just in Texas, but for our entire nation and its future.
Well, I see a lot of pregnant women around here.
Always put Christ first. Find your why. Dream big dreams.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. Hacking in the haze. The worst air in the world is sitting atop the United States today. 13 states to be exact, including New York and Pennsylvania.
The smoke coming in from over 700 wildfires burning in south central Canada being picked up by the upper level winds, blowing that smoke across the Midwestern states and then into the Northeast.
The air quality rating 100 today in the Empire State. That is unhealthy for sensitive groups with high particulates in the air. The entire state of New York, every county and 23 counties in Pennsylvania, the top half of the state, are under alerts. WROC meteorologist James Gilbert in Rochester.
Not only for Rochester, but it extends over to Albany, to Portland, Maine, up toward Burlington. You see it across Detroit, northern Wisconsin. So many areas dealing with reduced visibility.
The problem here to stay for a while. Josh Nichols has your full forecast coming up in a few minutes. Showdown. Democratic leaders fled the Lone Star State in an effort to delay a vote on new redistricting maps that would favor Republicans ahead of the 2026 elections. New York Governor Kathy Hochul hosted a breakfast for several of those Texas leaders today.
These brave public servants are taking a stand, a strong stand, against a blatant power grab that's happening in their state as we speak. And this will have implications, not just in Texas, but for our entire nation and its future.
Many say they'll stay out of Texas for 2 weeks just to slow things down. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says what they're doing is legal.
We have the authority legally under redistricting law to draw districts that align with the voter preferences of the voters of the state of Texas.
Abbott drawing a line in the sand, saying anyone not there for a 3 p.m. Central Time vote today, that was an hour ago, may face charges.
Based upon comments made by legislators themselves, they face a possibility of facing bribery charges, which is a second-degree felony in the state of Texas. There's one way to cure that. If they get back to the state of Texas and make quorum today at a hearing that we have at 3 o'clock, they can cure themselves of any quid pro quo that would subject them to potential bribery charges.
The head of the Democratic Party in Texas not blinking.
This has gone on far too long. Democrats say, come and take it.
Come and take it. Do you think he could be successful taking your seats away?
No. It's all bluster, sound and fury signifying nothing.
He's speaking to Fox News. That Texas standoff continues. President Trump is sending U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to Russia this week as the White House tries to get a ceasefire deal with Ukraine. Last week, Trump gave Russian President Vladimir Putin a 10-day window to reach a deal, and that deadline expires Friday.
We stopped a lot of wars. This is the one we seem to be... This should be the easiest to stop, and it's not.
Trump said today he'll substantially raise tariffs on India if it continues to buy Russian oil. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said India is buying, quote, massive amounts of Russian oil. He also claimed India is turning around and selling the oil on the open market for big profits. President Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney are set to speak in the coming days about tough new tariffs imposed on Ottawa. Canada's Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc.
We were obviously disappointed by that decision. We believe there's a great deal of common ground between the United States and Canada in terms of building two strong economies that work well together.
Those comments come after President Trump raised tariffs on Canada to 35%. He cites the fentanyl crisis as the reason why. A Central Ohio couple made history last week after becoming parents to a baby who was frozen as an embryo more than 30 years ago. It sets the record for the longest frozen embryo ever to result in a live birth. Now to sports. It was a bold moment in the NFL when they went to induct Jared Allen Allen to the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio this weekend. The former defensive star's faith and his tribute to his wife and family just as prominent as his new gold jacket.
The word legacy has been talked about a lot. When I get called home to heaven one day, if all they talk about is this gold jacket, my career, then I failed miserably as a father, a husband, and a friend. So always put Christ first, find your why, dream big dreams, and always pursue greatness in whatever you do. Thank you all, and may God bless you all.
Allen made his mark in football as a pass rusher for the Minnesota Vikings. And happy birthday to the United States Coast Guard. Today marks the 235th anniversary of the Coast Guard. One of the nation's 8 uniformed services plays a vital role in maritime security, search and rescue, and law enforcement. Fox's Kristen Goodwin.
According to the Department of Defense, the U.S. Coast Guard was initially established as the Revenue Marine by President George Washington in August of 1790. It was renamed in 1863 before taking on its current name after President Woodrow Wilson signed the Coast Guard Act into law in 1915.
The Coast Guard has more than 51,000 members nationwide. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, Josh Shapiro takes a stand on sex changes for minors. Private colleges are closing in New York and Pennsylvania, and more than a half dozen nurses pregnant at the same time in the Keystone State at one hospital. But weather first with meteorologist Josh Nichols.
Here is the Family Life Network weather report for this evening. The stage is set for still some poor air quality as a result of that wildfire smoke plume that has drifted in from Canada. So if you're part of a sensitive group with respiratory issues in particular, certainly want to limit your time outside this evening. Otherwise, the sky turns partly starlit. Of course, it's still going to be hazy, but comfortable with low temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. Later into the night, some fog develops. That's with us tomorrow morning. Otherwise, we'll see more hazy sunshine, more warmth, but tolerable levels of humidity for tomorrow. High temperatures will be into the mid-80s. A little bit more of a southerly breeze for some on Wednesday with a mixture of clouds and sunshine. The high temperature 85 to 90.
All right, Josh, checking the stories, making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Our top story is that air. Nearly 90 counties in New York and PA are under air quality alerts at this hour because of the Canadian wildfires. WROC meteorologist James Gilbert in Rochester says the problem may stay for a while.
We're going to see fires that get going out west. They're on a high fire alert today and tomorrow, so that may add to the problem, and I just don't see really any end in sight.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is joining a lawsuit against the Trump administration over its efforts to limit sex change operations on children. The suit alleges the White House of exceeding federal authority and undermining state laws that require equal access to medical treatment. Pro-family groups argue genital mutilation, chemical castration, and hormone replacement therapy is akin to child abuse in kids under 18. The past few years, a number of small private colleges have been forced to close due to financial pressure in New York and Pennsylvania. Those schools include Cazenovia College in central New York and Clark Summit University in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Every institution today is facing these pressures. Enrollment declines are rampant. The cuts that are necessary in order to align the financial model to current enrollments are rampant as well.
Utica University President Dr. Todd Fanistel recently announced he's had to cut faculty due to decreased enrollment.
We need to evaluate all of our programs and once again realize there are some that students no longer have the interest in pursuing, and employers are not really seeking to employ from that, and make the difficult decision on whether or not any of those programs need to be eliminated.
Utica has lost about 2,000 students the past decade. Experts blame a shrinking pool of high school graduates and a changing job market for the decline in enrollment. Next at 5, Missions Pulse with our own Bob Price. Let's listen in.
This is Mission Pulse on Family Life. Mondays, we Spotlight Ministries, making a difference where you live, across the country, and around the world. This week, we're spotlighting a secular organization that fits that bill because it helps alleviate hunger in our big backyard. Our guest, Mary Jane Bray, with the Food Bank of the Southern Tier.
We serve 6 counties across the Southern Tier. We are responsible for Broome, Chemung, Steuben, Schuyler, Tompkins, and Tioga. It's about 4,000 square miles. As of the end of 2024, we were serving approximately 30 to 31,000 individuals a week.
Wow, that's amazing. People hear about this term food insecurity. When you say food insecurity, Mary Jane, what does that mean?
So the actual definition of food insecurity is the condition of not having access to sufficient food or food of an adequate quality to meet one's basic needs. So oftentimes, folks who are struggling with food insecurity are what used to be referred to as the working poor. Many of these individuals have jobs. It's just what they get paid at the end of the month. It isn't enough to cover all the bills. So it's not enough to put gas in the car or pay for the rent or get the prescription that they need. And what falls off their list of priorities is usually food. Yeah. And these are the folks that reach out and seek assistance through our network of pantries to help feed themselves and their families.
Have you noticed food insecurity getting worse in the 6 counties that you serve? And if so, why is that?
Unfortunately, yes, food insecurity is on the rise, not only here, but across the United States. And, I wish I could say it was one reason. It's many reasons. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts, so to speak. It's the cost of food is high. Anybody who goes to a grocery store sees that. Although wages have improved post-COVID, they still aren't keeping pace with the cost of everything else in our lives.
And is there a website if folks want to learn more about the Food Bank, Mary Jane?
Absolutely. You can go to foodbankst.org. That's our website. You can access information on where a pantry or a meal site might be close to you. You can make a donation to the food bank. Yeah. And every dollar donated really, really helps us get food into the hands of folks who are struggling.
That's Mary Jane Bray with the Food Bank of the Southern Tier for this week's edition of Mission Pulse on Family Life. Mondays, we spotlight the ministries that are making a difference where you live, across the country, and around the world.
You can subscribe, listen to, and share Missions Pulse and all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
Insurance can be a wise way to prepare for the unexpected. Hi, I'm Rob West with your Faith and Finance Minute. It can help reduce financial risk, but not all policies are equally helpful. One to think twice about is the home warranty. These plans promise to repair or replace appliances and systems, but many people report hidden fees, limited technicians, poor service, or low-quality replacements. At $300 to $600 a year, you're often better off setting that money aside. A solid emergency fund offers more flexibility and control when something breaks. Proverbs tells us to prudent see danger and take refuge, and saving is one practical way to live that out. We plan ahead not because we're afraid, but because we're faithful to the one who owns it all. Get biblical answers to your financial questions in the Faith Fi community. Download Faith Fi, Faith and Finance in your app store or visit faithfi.com.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, 8 nurses pregnant at the same time at a hospital in Pennsylvania. But first, one last check of weather with Josh Nichols.
Here is the Family Life Network weather report for this evening. The stage is set for still some poor air quality as a result of that wildfire smoke plume that has drifted in from Canada. So if you're part of a sensitive group with respiratory issues in particular, certainly want to limit your time outside this evening. Otherwise, the sky turns partly starlit. Of course, it's still going to be hazy, but comfortable with low temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. Later into the night, some fog develops. That's with us tomorrow morning. Otherwise, we'll see more hazy sunshine, more warmth, but tolerable levels of humidity for tomorrow. High temperatures will be into the mid-80s. A little bit more of a southerly breeze for some on Wednesday with a mixture of clouds and sunshine. The high temperature 85 to 90.
All right, Josh, finally at 5, the once-in-a-lifetime bond that turned 8 coworkers into a family of their own. That story from NBC.
At Lehigh Valley Hospital in Pennsylvania, these nurses aren't just saving lives, they're starting the next chapter of theirs.
Who is not getting any sleep right now?
8 women all working in the same hospital, pregnant within a few months of each other.
I told Molly I was pregnant, and then she's like, me too. And I was like, wait, what? Katie was like right after, and Brittany, I was like, oh my gosh.
People are like, wow, I see a lot of pregnant women around here.
Oh, yeah. So many patients were like, what's in the water here?
Their squad, called the Prego Float, it's a nod to their jobs as float nurses who float between hospital departments.
We text almost every single day, whether it's something funny or just advice questions.
It is the best support team ever, a group of nurses in Pennsylvania that have each other. And that's the world that we live in for Monday, the 4th of August. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.